DUSK is a game developed by David Szymanski and published by New Blood Interactive. Did I got his last name right? The game is a fast-paced shooter with gameplay elements mostly derived from older DOS-era shooters. So if you expect an FPS cutscene where you can't move, or dialogue of people talking, or some high-effort animation of seeing your hand crawling or touching something, this isn't the game you're looking for. It's one of those games where you start an episode and get to killing immediately. Simple as that. Although, DOS-era shooters like Quake 2, Blood, and System Shock definitely had pre-rendered cutscenes, albeit very rare. The first time I saw this game is when I saw an old Steam friend of mine whom I haven't played with or talked for a while, but still on my friends list, bought DUSK, played it, and gave it a good review. So I went to the Steam store page and saw the gameplay trailer and thought, well, it's an action horror FPS game that tries to look like it's from the 90s. That was pretty much my only thought. Also, look at that review count. Overwhelmingly positive? Like, holy mother of machines, that's pretty rare for a game like this to earn that achievement. This must be life-changing for them. Well, I didn't have plans to buy Doom 2016 due to lack of interest and me thinking that my PC isn't strong enough. I bought DUSK on sale instead as an alternative, and what do you know? I gave it a positive score, saying, I'm too poor to buy Doom 2016. So it's a good game, right? Well, here's the thing. Most of my Steam reviews tend to be joke reviews, so what's my honest take on it? Well, that's what we're about to find out on this game review, so let's go! Yes. Press Alt-Tab to open Steam and GeForce menu. Truly a 90s DOS-era gamer experience. Now the first thing you see after the intro is this disturbing snuff-like image of a dead enemy like you bought this game in the deep web or something. Thank God it isn't. Not today, Justice System. Just like the old DOS-era shooter days, already you can choose any episode whenever you like. And there's that good old 5-level difficulty system, but come on, who starts on the last level first? The game begins with you waking up and getting killed by these Leatherface wannabes, and according to the mysterious voice, they don't seem... Your real name is actually Dusk Dude, or Dusk Guy, which is an obvious nod to Doom Guy. As far as we know, he seems to be a bearded man with a hat and a leather jacket, judging by this trailer's thumbnail. Maybe there's a prequel lore in the graphic novel, but I don't own the intruder version. I could just buy it separately if I want to. While Dusk Guy himself is a silent protagonist, he does talk through these red text subtitles, but no voice acting. I prefer my DOS-era shooters with voice acting, just to hear the voice of the badass. Shame it's not here. Also, can't call yourself an old FPS protagonist without some sort of one-liner borrowed from an old movie. Why do they always do that? Yes, I know they existed since World War II, but come on. One of DUSK's coolest features you can find is in the options video menu, and from there you can try customizing the game to look as retro as possible. Now I did try to make the game look like it's genuinely released during the early or mid-90s, and even feeling like I owned an old toaster-powered PC. Sometimes if I try to make it look like it's from the PS1 era if I want to. But no matter how hard I try, I just can't seem to reach that level of feeling regardless of what I do to make it look more retro. I think what I need is a Windows 95 PC, and there isn't a texture warping option since most PS1 games are like that. So I gave up and played in the highest settings possible, thought, holy shit, this looks pretty good to look at. Especially on later levels with more color. I guess what this game is trying to do is make something out of the old 90s DOS era shooter days, while making it look like some remaster of an old game. But at some point I gave up and went back playing it with a little bit of pixels just to recapture that feeling. Maybe this is just me, but I think this is where the game shows one of its flaws, when I try to make the game look retro. And I think another flaw of it is that I don't like the designs of the cultists because they look like rejected Minecraft models and something straight out of the old DOS era shooters. At first I thought it was just a row, but I noticed the chainsaw cycles look almost like them.
You're a fraud! David Szymanski.
Personally, when it comes to humanoid enemies, I prefer if it's just soldiers, scarecrows, and the mad scientists. Not these two, though. Now, the game has 3 episodes, and each of them has a unique thematic set of enemies and environments, while the cultists, rats, and wendigos remain as default mainstays. Episode 1 is like an Evil Dead video game taking place in a farm area with crazy serial killers, evil goats, scarecrows, and nurses. You do eventually get to an urban small town area, and the final level here is the boss fight between these 2 experimental monsters. In my opinion, when it comes to enemy roster, I didn't go for episode 1. Episode 2 goes for an industrial field with its enemies being soldiers and mad scientists introduced at the near end of episode 1. There's also pyromaniacs, turrets, and these cyborg ladies. They are cyborgs, right? I gotta admit, I actually am a huge fan of these maps in episode 2. There's this outdoor section that gives me Half-Life 1 vibes, this creepy lab, the gauntlet level, the secret level, the floating temple, and the final area we have to fight that giant mole monster in that super tight claustrophobic space. Episode 3 goes for an otherworldly look with ghosts, crazy wild boars, bishops, piranhas that only appear in one level, and this screamer guy. Even previous enemies from the last 2 episodes are making a return. And there's this giant meatball thing. What is this thing anyway? They aren't pain elementals, are they? Personally, I recommend playing the levels with the highest settings possible. If you have a good strong PC, that is. Because when you do, the lighting and color in the map turn this place into visual eye candy. Graphically wise, I think this is where the game's maps stand out the most. Okay, but all praises aside, why is episode 3 called The Nameless City? I only get to the city areas like 1 or 2 times, and it's not even the size of the city. Why not just call this The Nameless Realm? Or I don't know, just hell? Now each of these episodes have one secret map. Episode 1 and 2 are definitely well designed and worth finding. But then there's episode 3. Episode 3 secret level is just not worth the play. I mean, my problem with episode 3 secret level is that it acts like a joke level, but not in a good way. It's just rats here, rats there, and rats everywhere. Like, it's not even funny. It's just a dark room full of rats and more rats. At least add some cheese wheels or Mickey Mouse parody. Get sued by Disney, I don't know. Make this level feel better than just rats. Also, before I was recording the secret level, my game turned to Chinese for no reason whatsoever. No matter how hard I tried to turn it back to English, it's still Chinese. I rebooted the game by verifying the integrity, only to lose my last save. So I pretty much had no choice but to use the level select and try to memorize how much ammo I had on my last save. Screw you, level 3! The only reason for you to play a secret level is just to earn an achievement, and that's it. After that, don't bother playing it again. It sucks because I like finding the secret, but as a level, just no. Okay, rant over. Let's talk about the weapons next. Now, don't let that weapon count fool you, there's actually 10 weapons in this game. Starting off, the first weapon you use are 2 sickles, which not only can be used for close quarters combat, but if you're good enough at timing, you could deflect enemy attacks. I didn't even know you could do that until I started recording this review. Later get new weapons like the pistols and shotguns, you can dual wield if you found another one. Look, I'm fine with dual wielding a pistol, but when it comes to a shotgun, I think I'd prefer using one. Well, I guess that's where the super shotgun comes in. Or maybe you're just a Doom 2 fan. Next up is the assault rifle, which isn't a tough weapon but still worth using. A hunting rifle to shoot far. A crossbow which pierces enemies. And walls! You also get a grenade launcher which has a boring uninspired projectile. Yeah, you know what, I think I prefer seeing them as ammo. And the Riveter, which acts like a steampunk industrial rocket launcher. Oh, and spoiler alert, you can't rocket jump. The last weapon in the game is a sword with its charge attack depending on how high your health is. You can defend yourself when you have more than 50 morale, which I believe is this game's armor system. I have yet to find this weapon in episode 1 and 2. But if you want to, you can try spinning your gun as an alternative way to kill the enemy. But of course, if you don't want to waste ammo, you can always throw objects like it's Half-Life 2. And that game isn't even from the DOS era.
Take it. taste the power.
Ah yes, Super Hot. Truly one of my favorite DOS-era shooter games.
Super hot.
My sickles? What's that mean? Does it kill enemies in one hit? Nah, forget him, I said. Now going back to the DOS Startup opening, you can see the game recommends you to put on some headphones since the soundtrack here is out of this world. Oh seriously, listen to these tunes. But music isn't just one thing DUSK excels in the sound department. There's even some ASMR-worthy sound effects, like when you shoot your hunting rifle, or the assault rifle. But the best part of the game's soundtrack is when trying to find the invisible Wendigo who's trying to stalk you sometimes, more than one in the darker areas. Now that they've beat all the levels, it's time for the final boss.
You shall be my final test.
Okay then, it seems to me this final boss is some kind of satire? It's supposed to make fun of speedrunners? Look, I'm no bunny hopper, but is it trying to make some kind of statement for Mel's sake? After dealing enough damage, the cultists realize that their leader has bad skill issues and see him as a false god due to mine being better than his. Yeah, that's right, bow down to your new leader. You're next, Rothschild.
Forgive me, my lord.
And that, everybody, is DUSK. While I did enjoy the game since buying it, does it really deserve an overwhelmingly positive review score? Playing the game from start to finish, based on my...
He was worthy, you know, and he accomplished so much. But then, you came along. You who were stronger. You who were faster. You I like better. Who did you expect at the end of all of this? God? The devil, perhaps? No. It's just me.
There's Ex Machina! Yeah, it turns out the real final boss isn't this bunny-hopping social commentary cult leader, but instead the real final boss is the Naruto giant monster. I don't know, it's a H.P. Lovecraft creation. You know how he tends to name his characters weird things. During my first encounter with him, I kept thinking, how the hell am I supposed to kill a H.P. Lovecraft creation? A menacing boss, yes, but He's quite easy to defeat when all you have to do is shoot these wall cracks. And when you do, his god mode gets disabled. Sheesh, at least try adding some flex save or sealant next time. Some god you are.
Enough! You are indeed worthy.
Are you stupid? You literally left cracks on your wall that make me easier to beat you. I literally cheated my way to kill you. It was just dumb luck. If this is how it takes to be a god, I don't think I want to be a god. But uh-oh, it turns out it's all part of the plan to make you his slave. And now you're mind controlled and you have to do his bidding and become the next new cult leader and be his puppet. I think. Is this a good ending or bad ending?
DUSK.
And that, everybody, is DUSK. While I did enjoy the game since buying it, does it really deserve an overwhelmingly positive review score? Playing the game from start to finish, based on my experience, I thought the game feels solid. Just solid. Like I said, I did notice some certain flaws which kinda ticked me off, mainly the models of the chainsaw psychos and the cultists. And I'm still struggling to make it look like I'm playing it in the 90s. Maybe that's got something to do with my fast frame rate, or because I don't own a CRT monitor. At this point, someone should just remake the game and put it as a PS1 port, or by using the Quake engine, or Quake 2 engine, or Gold Source. Whatever, you get what I mean. And my last criticism is that while the game's description says inspired by 90s FPS games, the game feels more like Quake meets Blood than every single old FPS game that's blended into one. Come to think of it, the publisher's name is New Blood Interactive, so is it named after the game or do they just want a cool name? I don't know, maybe I just haven't played enough DOS era shooter games to get some of the references. Let's see, we've got Doom, Doom 2, Doom 64, Blood, Quake 1, Quake 2, Half-Life 1, Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike Condition 0, Wolfenstein, System Shock, System Shock 2, Rainbow Six Rogue Spear, Deus Ex, Sin, Power Slave. I played South Park 64 in an emulator once. Does that game count? It's definitely not a modern era shooter. Why did I play South Park 64 anyway? Well, those are the only DOS era shooters I played so far. Well, I guess there's a super shotgun from the Doom games, the cultist themes from Blood, graphical art from Quake. Well, there was that one level with the daytime skybox that reminded me of Half-Life. Which singer you eat? What about the soldiers and the scientists? Well, as far as I know, at least the soldiers in Half-Life are smarter and faster than these guys, just walking and shooting. Also, let's not forget most of the scientists here are evil compared to the one in Half-Life. So that doesn't count. System Shock? Well, you can pick up almost anything in System Shock, but too bad you can't kill them with these props. As for the rest of the games I played and mentioned there, well, there doesn't seem to be any love letters or references. Yes, I know DUSK can only speak, but I've said before, I prefer if these lines are spoken with a voice like other older FPS protagonists. Actually, at least most of the older games had better gore, and here when you blow an enemy to bits, they don't drop any dismembered body parts or organs, just huge looking red slimy mucks. At least give me some kind of beating heart that I could stomp. Whatever, I guess me not noticing the other tributes or love letters in the game is a good thing. I mean, I guess it's better to be original than to copy, right? But again, maybe it's because I don't have enough DOS era shooters to understand some of the references. And maybe that's why I think this game is just solid in my opinion. The game's just fine. It's not an award winner or anything. It's just fine. But hey, at least people are making their own DOS era shooter games sometimes. Sometimes with old 3D polygons or sometimes with 2D pixel graphics thanks to this game. Now the real question is all of this is just trend chasing because wow, look, nostalgic graphics, so hip now, wow and how. Or it really is just some genre revivalism. With that being said, I think I'll give DUSK a Sure, the game is fun, it made me more interested in playing retro-styled FPS games, whether it's new or old, but I need to be honest with my feelings based on my personal experience. So yeah, I just thought this game is solid. But hey, it's still a good alternative for people who don't own the newer Doom games, or just people who don't own a strong PC like me. I'm just gonna say it, I'm going to make a confession. You buy retro-styled and old games because you think modern games aren't fun. I buy retro-styled and old games because my PC isn't fucking strong enough.
stop! Hey, when I called shotgun, that
You're a fraud, Spider-Man!
We are not the same. Actually, you know what? Changed my mind. Remember when I said I bought this game because of my friend whom I haven't spoken to? It's thanks to that joke review I made on Steam. We actually spoke together for, I don't know, 2 years, I think? So, bonus points just because I reconnected with an old friend of mine, even if it's just small talk. Well, guess that's all for now. This is Sidney logging off. Until next time.